So I encourage everyone to just uh, go to menti.com and attend this poll. You can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. I think let's start our session. Can you see my PPT?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay, let me share it again. Okay, I hope you can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Hi everyone again, thanks for joining. I'm so excited to conduct the first meetup, particularly for QA. And this is the first time we are trying it. And this is very, very unique because most of the groups won't try for QA. And this is very challenging for us. I encourage every QA team and every person under the QA role to attend this kind of meetup in order to develop your QA skills. And this is our topic, Salesforce QA in a Week Guidance Program. So this program has three categories, and I will explain what are each categories and what we have to do like that. And our meetup is sponsored by MST Solutions. So MST Solutions is one of the leading Salesforce consulting and partner, silver partner with Salesforce, and the headquarters is in Arizona. As a wonderful company which is located in Chennai as well as Trichy in Tamil Nadu. And I'm really so thankful for MST Solutions for sponsoring our meetup. As I stated, this meetup has three categories. One is manual testing, another one is Salesforce manual testing, and then automation testing. So these three categories, which is will be done by three QA specialists. First, manual testing will be taken care of Jayanti, and second, Salesforce manual testing will be taken care of Gayatri, and third one, automation testing will be taken care of Priyadarshini. So these three people are a QA specialist who has a lot of experience in QA field, particularly in Salesforce. So they will be knowing all the challenges, and they, of course, they are in the interview panels. So they will be knowing all the people mindset and how to answer for the question, how interviewer will expect the solutions, and how to answer it properly like that. So they will be sharing a lot of tips for you, and every each and every tips is waiting for you, so you can just gain a lot of things from there. And I encourage everyone to have some fun in attending our meetups. So I think as you all know about my WIT Trichy group. So WIT Trichy group was started before 1 month, and this is our third meetup. We have around 556 members in our group, and I'm really so happy because everyone is just appreciating, everyone is encouraging our group, and thanks for all your support. And if you want to become a volunteer in WIT Trichy group, and you are welcome, you can take part and you can contribute something to our WIT Trichy group. And this group is mainly to improve and mainly to support all the women to learn the Salesforce, because I don't know how many of them are just having all these facilities, and sometimes women may get demotivated by everyone. So this group is mainly to motivate all the women to learn the Salesforce. And I'm trying hardly to improve all their skills. Just you have to spend only 1 hour with this. And definitely, and I'm sure that I will not bore you. Definitely, you will spend a quality time with us. So stay tuned. Thank you. So I'm just hand over my session to Jayanti. Jayanti, can you hear us?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
So I will screen.
Yeah.
share my screen first. So let me know once it is visible.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Thanks, Pavadrani. So, a very good evening to everyone who joined today. Thanks for joining the session. And I'm Jayanti S. So, working as Associate Tech Lead Trainee in MST Solution for the past 5.5 years. And it's my immense pleasure to deliver the overview of software testing today. So, before that, we can see our agenda. So, agenda comprises of the overview and objective of software testing, why testing, STLC and types of software testing, a short demo, some sample questions and preparation tips, and we will be ending with the mock interview pattern. Let's jump into the topic now. So in real world, everyone has done some kind of testing at some situation. You may aware or not, that is the true fact. Let me provide an example to clear on it. Consider you have ordered a product and it has been delivered to you. So, what's the first thing you do now? Yes, you're going to open it and check the product is working fine or not. This is called testing. So, in software, we have a specific term to describe it. It is the process of evaluating the functionality of the software application to find if there is any bug exists. Let me elaborate it more clearly. Consider the product is a mobile. The functionality needs to be evaluated as you're able to make a call using that mobile. So here, call is a single function which also contains some scenarios like voice call, video call, WhatsApp call, video call, etc. And suppose the video call does not work, then that is called the bug. And this process to identify the bug is called the software testing. So, testing may be conducted on any product. It may be a web application, cloud application, or it may be a mobile application too. I think you are clear on the overview of software testing. So, let I move to the next topic. So, each process has some goal or target, which we called as an objective. So, let me see some of the main objective of the software testing, which is listed here as a high level. The first one is checking developed software met the specific requirements. Every software product has a specific requirement. Once it is developed, it is the responsibility of the testing team to check the developed software met the specific requirements or not. So it is one of the main objectives in software testing. The second one is like identifies any defect in the software in order to produce a quality product. Also, by doing these, we are gaining the confidence of the customer. So, if we identify all bugs, we can also give them a quality product. So, we have also few more, but we can't list everything here. So, these are the main objective of software testing. And we all have one question: why testing? Why testing is necessary? So, from my previous slide, you have get some idea why testing is needed to deliver high quality product. Quality is more important than quantity. We can buy as much product as we need, but the quality of the product defines its lifetime. Effective performance of software application or product. Performance always plays a vital role on the product. That performance would be detected only if we do some testing on it. So these are the facts describing why testing is necessary. Testing can be handled in two ways. One is manual testing, and another one is automation testing. Manual testing is the testing done manually by the tester without using any tool. The tester will execute the test case manually and provide the test result. Automation testing is the testing done by using some tools. Testers use some appropriate automation tools to develop the test script and validate the software. In recent time, we all have this controversial thought. The thought is nothing but, is manual testing dying? So I will say no. Manual testing will never die. I will provide the explanation here. So if we consider a project, everything can be done manually. And on the other hand, everything can be automated by using a tool. Take a project if you are working as a tester on a student registration form. So, is it possible to fill all 1000 forms manually and verify those at a time of 30 minutes? No, right? But this is possible by using automation test script. And on the other hand, suppose we have some of the issues on the UI of the form, like some of the fields, font style is not proper, some of the font color is blur, and some of the size of the button is not aligned properly. So in this scenario, if it is possible to get all those UI issues captured by using a tool, no, right? But this is possible to capture all those if we test it manually. So it is the best idea to choose both manual and automation, considering the project requirements and the testing scope to work out, and thus both join hands, and as a result, it delivers a partner in success product. STLC, Software Testing Life Cycle. So it is a sequence of specific activities conducted during the testing process to ensure software quality goals are met. The sequence are carried out in 6 major phases. These are the follows, like starting from the requirement analysis, test plan creation, test case execution, defect logging, defect fix, and re-verify, and also which also followed by test closure activity. I will provide a short description of these of here. Okay. The first one, requirement analysis. So in this phase, QA team understand the requirement, like what is to be tested from the gathered requirement from the client or BA. Test plan creation. In this phase, testing team calculates estimated effect and cost for the testing work. Test case creation, which is the third phase. In this phase, testing team create the detailed test case by splitting up the scenarios. Testing team also prepare the required test data which have to be undergo for execution. And test case execution, in this phase, the testing team start executing the test cases prepared earlier in the test case creation. And defect logging, once a test execution is completed, we would all have some bugs identified. So we would be logging all those bugs in this phase only. Defect fix and re-verify. In this phase, we have to ensure all the logged bugs are working properly, and we have to retest them, and we have to close it and move to complete properly. Test closure activity is nothing but it is the last phase which also simplifies into defect fix and re-verify, which ensures all the test report is prepared correctly or not. So software testing is classified into functional and non-functional. Functional testing defines what the system does, and non-functional testing defines how well the system does. We also have different types under functional and non-functional testing. So here are they. So I would suggest you all to go through their description before appearing for a interview. So it may be clear, like unit test, smoke, sanity, regression, integration, white box, black box, user acceptance testing, which is called UAT, falls under the functional testing. And for non-functional testing, the stress, volume, maintainability, security, scalability, failover, usability, configuration testing, and load testing will falls under non-functional testing. So it is a common question like you would be every time asking for the difference between two types of testing. So it would be very useful if you go through these description before appearing for a interview. Let's jump into a demo. So it's a simple demo. For this demo, the scope is like you have to think as a tester. So I have collected few sample images here. So this images we have some error hidden or it may be visible to you. So you can see an image with three objects like one is a jar specifying the measures, another one is a yellow plate full of snacks and a cup with filled hot drinks. Take a look on it. You can get some idea where the defect is. You also can answer if you got
The
this
minimum
copy.
and maximum is written on the wrong place.
Correct, correct. So is it a great applause for him? Thank you. And the scene, here is another pic. So in this pic, you can see a calendar is there. A boy is staring at the phone by keeping his calendar and also the laptop. So here also an error is there. Try to spot it.
The year on the laptop.
Here,
Yes, yes.
The
Please
date
be
date
clear.
doesn't match.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you have spotted the error. So great applause for both both of you. And here comes the topics which you need to be prepared before appearing for a testing interview. So you can consider this as a book, and these all defines the basics of software testing. So it would be very uh, what useful if you segregate all these topics and come under some questions under these terms. So the first one is like the basics of software testing, which we mostly covered here. The testing techniques, types of testing, verification and validation, levels of testing, STLC and SDLC. As same as STLC, we have certain phases which falls under SDLC also. The testing methodologies, which is nothing but our agile, waterfall, V model and all, defect management. So this is a vast chapter. So we have to be very keen and look each and everything under defect management. So this occupies mostly two of a question for each interviews or it may be an online test too. And followed by testing best practice and methods of testing. So here is the reference link which you can get all those things by using this URL. So here it will be describing the software testing techniques, and the second thing is a tutorial point which will give you a overview of software testing. So it would be very appreciate if you go through these link before appearing for a interview.
Hey Jayanti, are you going to share this PPT after this call?
Yeah, sure. We will share it.
Okay, thank you.
And here comes some sample question. So I would recommend you people, if you know the answer, you can answer here. The first question is what is what? What is software testing and why it is required? So we all have seen this in our first two slides. So anyone willing to answer? Okay, no issues. So I will repeat the answer again. So software testing, it is nothing but the process of evaluating the functionality of the software application to find any bugs present. So main thing is like you can make a keyword like spotting the errors, delivering the high quality product, and checking all the specific requirements were met or not. So you can make these as a key point. And the second question is familiar. If you go through any interview, online interview, this question will be a must. So we can see this question frequently in every website. The difference between verification and validation. So any person who knows it, you can answer.
So verification means are we building the product right, and validation means are we building the right product.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It contains the same term, but a little bit difference. Validation, as you told, are we building the right product? And verification, are we building the product right? So in detail, validation is a process of checking whether the specification captures the customer need. And verification is a process of checking the software meets the specification. So we have a minute difference, but it would be very easy if you understand these concepts. Let me move to the third question. Describe briefly about STLC. So which we see in a slide. So is there anyone to answer? Okay, no issues. I will repeat it. So STLC is the sequence of specific activities conducted during the testing process to ensure quality goals are met or not. So these involves both the verification and validation, and STLC contains of 6 major phases, which I elaborately told on the previous slide. So I think you have got few thing on it. And the fourth question is like, what's the difference between a bug, a defect, and an error?
Jayanti,
So this
sorry
is
to interrupt. Can you please go a little bit faster because we crossed our time?
okay, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I will tell what is mean by bug, defect, and error. So this is the common question which we are facing frequently. So a mistake in a coding is called error. Error found by tester is called defect, and defect which is accepted by the development team, it is called a bug. A bug is the result of coding error. So So here I have provided the real-time scenario. So if we take an interview, what? So you must face a real-time scenario question. So I have taken the real-time scenario question as derive some positive and negative test cases for testing ATM machine. So I will provide some tips how to handle this real-time scenario. So once you are asked to answer a real-time scenario question, you have to imagine the scenario, you have to think as a tester, and you have to gather all the actions and experience, and as a result, you will get some answer and you have to proceed on it. Imagine the scenario is like it is asked to derive some scenarios for ATM machine. So imagine like you are standing before the ATM machine, and here you are going to think as a tester. You have to check and break the system so that you will get some result, and as a result you are going to proceed with that answer. So you are a tester now. You have broken it, you have found something, you have answered it. Great, you are a tester now. And this is our mock interview pattern for testing, which is upcoming once we enter this meetup. So the mode is online mode. Category or level is the one, which means it's purely manual testing. It contains a question of 25 numbers. So you have given 30 minutes to answer. Thank you, team. Thanks for your patience, and I will handle over to Gayatri.
Thank you so much, Jayanti. I think Gayatri is ready.
Yes, Bhavarani. So, please let me know once you're able to see my screen.
We can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. Um, Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the session. Today, I'm going to cover the overview of Salesforce testing. Before jumping into the session, let me introduce. So, I'm Gayatri Lakshmi Narayanan, working in MST Solution, having close to 8+ years of experience in manual testing. So, I'm an associate tech lead over here. You can reach me out in my email ID. So the agenda which I'm going to cover is what's all about Salesforce testing, the overview of Salesforce testing. And when it comes to Salesforce testing, you may have a question, what kind of a scope we will be having, how we will be doing a Salesforce testing, why the Salesforce testing is needed. So to answer those kind of a question, I will be covering under the topic called process of software testing. So followed with that, I will be showing a quick demo and also having some sample question set and as well as the interview preparation tips. So before jumping into Salesforce testing, I'm just going to provide you an overview about what is all Salesforce meant. So Salesforce is nothing but a CRM which has been built in cloud platform. So it is a world first cloud-based CRM which actually built to solve the purpose of developing the customer relationship, connecting with the customer, in collaborating with the customer, and analyzing the customer market need. So Salesforce is a platform which will actually can be adopted for any kind of a business domain. So where we can also ready buy and we can implement by at a easy manner. When it is comes to Salesforce testing, so the Salesforce is actually built-in platform which is actually contains of two development technology methodologies. So one is like configuration, another one is customization. So the configuration, which is nothing but the default Salesforce standard functionality, which we also call as a declarative functionality. So that will be achieved using the point and click actions itself. So we will be testing those concept also. Added to that, we will be having a customization where a developer will write a code to meet the requirements specified by the client, and we will be using a development language called Apex. So that using that language, we will be developing the code, and we have so many terms, so many other components which we will be testing when it comes to customization. So what we will be testing. So many may think like since Salesforce itself have been doing an end-to-end testing and releasing any product, before releasing any product, they will be doing a proper testing and they will then only they have been releasing to the system. But what is the scope we will be having when we are having being a separate Salesforce tester? So yes, there is a lot of scope in Salesforce testing in the market. So the reason why is whenever any development activities is happening in any kind of a project, without doing a proper testing, it can't be go to the market or it cannot be moved to live. So obviously wherever a development is there, obviously the importance of testing will also be there. So even as stated in the overview of testing, so even in Salesforce testing also, we will be performing both functional as well as the non-functional testing. So what and all we will be testing? So we will be testing across the devices. Like example, we will be testing in desktop, we will be testing in mobile apps, and we will be testing the public portals. So where and all we are actually developing the concept or the requirement, right? So wherever we are meeting the customer need, we will be supposed to test in all the environment or all the across the devices to ensure the functionality is actually working in common. And we all know, right? So the Salesforce is actually having its own development platform. As I stated earlier, we will be having own language called Apex. So whatever the code written by the developer, whether it may be an Apex trigger or a Lightning component, Lightning web component, visual post pages, or a public sites. So these are all the customization which mostly happen in Salesforce. So we will be testing the end-to-end logic from the performance, from the security, from the UI level, from the cross-browser accessibility, and from the functionality, that is system level functionality. So we will be testing it end-to-end. So when you are preparing for an interview, right, so you can actually expect more number of questions around these concepts. Example like so what are all the major things when we will be testing whenever an object or fields or record type has been implemented in Salesforce, and what derive some scenarios for a workflow rules, and you also be aware of what are all the actions that is available in the workflow rules, and on what conditions the approval process will be triggered. So these kind of questions you can expect whenever you are attending for an interview. So please go through and please be aware of with sample examples around these concepts. So it will be an added benefit for you whenever you are appearing for an interview. And the most important thing is, nowadays, right, so Salesforce is actually becoming an source of truth for whatever the customer management data is actually dealing with. So we are also able to connect or integrate the Salesforce with other external system, or bringing the other external system data to Salesforce, or Salesforce to another Salesforce instance. So there is an actually lot more market trend is actually nowadays getting rises in the terms of doing an integration testing as well. So in the end, as a tester, whenever you are supposed to test any application, you have to validate each and every functionality and ensure everything is working as expected. Now, so I just told what is all about Salesforce testing, and now I'm just going to tell why we do testing. Obviously, so when we are doing any testing activities, we are able to identify the quick bug at the earliest stage, which helps us to prevent the failure of the product, and we are also able to track the deployments easily. So by providing doing a proper testing, so we will be helping the business people to improve their business process, which in turn improve their Salesforce performance as well. And we are the gatekeeper for whatever the quality activities that we are doing. So we will be ensuring that we are making sure that the product is reaching the market on time. And in the end, when we followed all these things, we can make our customer with an enriched satisfaction and happiness. So do you guys have any idea about how or where we will be doing Salesforce testing? Anyone knows?
In the sandboxes in Salesforce,
Sandbox.
we call sandbox in English.
Exactly. Thank you so much for answering. Yes. So for the question where we will be doing a testing, so yes, in Salesforce we will be having a concept called sandboxes. So you can expect more number of questions around this concept. So we all know that in Salesforce we are actually having 4 types of sandbox: dev pro, partial copy, and full copy, right? So you can expect the questions like on what are all the feasible, what is the exact suitable sandbox to perform load testing or performance testing, where in which sandbox we will be getting a copy of production data. So you can expect more number of questions along these in this concept. So so sandbox is the place where a developer will write a code, execute the code, and we will be then we will be doing a testing and ensure that everything is actually working fine in a sandbox. Then only we will be pushing that to the production instance. So now I'm just going to provide you an overview about how the real Salesforce project will be happening. So as you all know, in SDLC, obviously that the SDLC phases starts from planning, analysis, requirement analysis, planning, and then coding, doing the testing as well as the maintenance, right? So the same SDLC process is what we will be following in the software development, Salesforce development cycle as well. So where the developer is actually writing the code, either it may be a code that is a customization or a configuration, they will be implementing in the sandbox, then they will be doing a unit testing, and if it is success, then they will be deployed that to the testing instance. In testing instance, so we as a tester, the major role will be like we will be analyzing the test requirement, we will be started to write the test cases for that, and once the test cases is ready, then we will be once the deployment is done, then we will be doing the smoke testing, functional testing, as well as the regression testing. If at all any bug fixes available, then we will be notifying it to the developer, and if everything is working fine, then we will be sending the product for the customer to verification, which we used to call it as an user acceptance testing. And if the user acceptance testing is approved by the customer, then only we will be pushing it to production. If at all we found any bugs over there in user acceptance testing, then again the cycle will be reiterate. So when you are attending for any interview, so you can expect more number of questions over the execution model of Salesforce testing. So like what the example questions is like, what is the first testing that we will be doing whenever any new deployments has been deployed to sandboxes, or what are all the test design techniques that you will be applying to write the test cases or derive the scenarios, and how you will be communicating to the bugs to a developer, and who will be responsible for user acceptance testing. So these are all the some common questions that you can actually expect over your interview. And added to that, there will be also putting you on spot questions like, if at all any bugs has been identified in production, as a tester, what will be your first take on, or an action item that you will be doing. So these kind of spot on questions also you can expect during your interview. So now you guys have an idea about so how the execution model is. So as I stated earlier, these are all the process that we will be doing as a tester. So we will be planning and we will be ensuring the environment is set it up. That is this, we are actually having a proper sandbox access, other system access, everything. Then we will be parallelly working on test design, execution, as well as the test reporting and documentation. So I hope you guys have an overview about all about Salesforce testing. So I'm just going to explain you with the sample requirement, how a sample requirement will be in Salesforce. So here is my sample requirement. So the requirement is to build a Web2 lead page form. Okay. So now in the Web2 lead page form, the expectation is like we want 5 fields to be available, and all these fields should falls under the should met the criteria on the size and data type, as well as all these fields should be mandatory. Does anyone have any high level scenarios? If you are interested, you can just share. What is the first scenario that is coming to your mind when you have seen this requirement? Do you guys have any idea? Am I audible?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so when you are actually getting these kind of a requirement, right? So the first thing what you have to do is you immediately want to become a user, and you want to think all the scenarios from the user aspects. Okay, so whenever, say for example, if at all we are submitting any form, either it may be an IRCTC or even your Gmail form, right? So the first thing is what you will be doing. So you will be checking whether the site is actually up. It is very easily accessible. So the first scenario that I will be testing, it is actual whether the form is actually accessible. And the second thing is like I will be validating whether the fields, whatever the fields that has been set in the requirement, right, that is available, and there is a provision for the user to submit the form. These are all the scenarios that needs to be covered. And as in the status, right, so we have been mentioning all these fields has been mandatory. So when we are writing any scenarios, right, so it doesn't mean that the role of a tester should be covered only the positive side. We aim to test the more negative scenarios so that we can ensure nothing will break our system. So as a negative testing, right? So I will be validating without giving all the values in all the fields. I will be clicking on a submit button, then I will be seeing what kind of a response or an error message it is actually throwing. Okay, so this is how your scenarios will be. You have to derive the scenario, and whenever you are deriving any scenario, no matter wherever in Salesforce, you definitely want to apply your test design techniques, the list of test design techniques like boundary value analysis, equivalence partitioning, state transition. So these are all the test design techniques which we be using frequently for deriving any kind of a scenario in Salesforce. So that may be even helpful for you to answer the questions even at the time of interview as well. So now I have given you provided you an overview about how the requirement will be and how the test scenario will be derived. So I'm just going to quickly show how the test execution will also happen in the Salesforce. So for that, right, so I just took the same, I'm just going to use the same Web2 lead page form. So first I'm going to show, you can see, right, this is the Web2 lead page form, which we will be building in Salesforce using the configuration, that is using this default Salesforce built-in functionality. But I'm going to show how the customization will be implemented, and now the customized Web2 lead page form will be like this. So you can see the enriched UI, the alignment,
Gayatri, sorry for interruption. Are you showing your PPT or some web page?
I showed my web browser. Let me share again.
Okay, yeah, we can see only your PPT.
Thank you, Bhavdani. Is it visible now, my browser?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience. So the point that I have mentioned, right? So this is the standard Web2 lead page form, which I have been built using the Salesforce configuration method. And this, I'm just using the customization. We just enrich the form with the proper alignment and proper UI, with an enriched UI and a provision to submit the form as also. So now when you are testing it, right? So now consider you are a project, you got this requirement and you have it derived the scenarios as well. Now, as a tester, you have to compare the system against the requirement which you are actually testing it. So you can see here, so the requirement is the first name, last name, email, phone number, address. These are all the requirements. Okay. So you can see the first name is available, last name is available, email is available, but no phone number. So this is the place where you will be calling it as a bug and you will be notifying it to the developer. So this is how you will be performing the testing. And the second, and for the negative testing, right? So we have specified all the fields should be mandatory, but you can see there is no mandatory symbol available over here. Okay, but when you are clicking the submit button, you can see there is an error message that is actually popping up when to ask us to fill the values, right? So this is how the role of a tester plays major role in the testing. So you can view here, you will be collaborating with the developer as well as the client in a way that how the client want, whether they want the star symbol to be displayed in the UI or whether they want all the error message should be displayed at a single time. So you have to think from the user perspective and make sure that the application is actually user friendly. Okay, so quickly what I'm going to do is I'm just going to submit the form and I'm just going to show the field level mapping inside the Salesforce. So now I have submitted my form. So you can see, right? So whatever the value that I have provided, that is actually well mapped over here. Okay, so the test, MST, my email ID, and the address that I have specified. Okay, and mostly as a tester, right, you can expect an interview question around the difference between the Salesforce Classic and the Salesforce Lightning UI. So this we used to call it as an Classic, and I just specified it in the screenshot. So this is the Lightning UI. So when you are working in a project, so you have to make sure that the development activities, whether the client is actually working in a Lightning UI or a Classic UI, then you have to write the scenario. Sometimes the client may use both, then in that case, whatever the customization that we are building, we want to ensure that it is actually working in both the UI. So this is how we will be performing the testing. And as a tester, we always supposed to take the screenshot, because this is the proof that you can ensure that everything is actually working fine, and so that you can provide this as a document, result document also. So that's all I have. And so for just to provide you an idea about the some sample interview questions around the Salesforce testing topic. So when you are preparing for the Salesforce testing interview, so kindly make sure that you have at least a basic level of admin knowledge. That will be an added advantage for you, because when it comes to Salesforce testing, there will be questions along, not only on the testing concept, also on the Salesforce concept. So example, you can see, right? So if anyone wants to answer for this question, you can. So can we assign two profiles for a same user at a time? So those who know Salesforce, do you think is it possible?
No.
No. So when you are actually, thank you so much for the answer. So when you are actually conveying the answers like this, right? So you, instead of saying the answer in a single word, it will be better, and it will be giving you a good impression when you also specify the reason why it is possible, it's not possible. Because in user record, the profile is actually a pick list value, where it's supposed to be assigned with one single value. So that's why it is not possible. So when you are actually explain your answers in such a way, it will actually give you an clear impression on you, and it makes the interviewer to know, to think like it is you know something about Salesforce. So this is how you have to be prepared with your answers also. And then on the testing side, right? So you can also expect a question like, derive some scenarios for any workflow or approval process. So because when it
I,
comes to testing,
Gayatri, sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
I think we have only 10 minutes more. We have to leave
yeah,
for,
it's done from my side, about that. I'm just going to say about the concept.
yeah.
Okay, so you can expect the questions around those areas. So please be prepared with answering the scenarios as well, because there will be lots of scenarios that will be shooted out in your, I mean, that can be asked in your interview questions. So added to that, I also listed out some of the interview preparation tips, which means like these are, if at all you are aware of these concepts, then it will be very easy for you to clear up the interview. And when you are preparing for applying for any specific job, please go through the JD, and in the JD, right, they will be specifying what cloud they are actually looking for, either it is a sales cloud, marketing cloud, community cloud. So kindly go over the concept around those cloud, then it will be easy for you to clear up the interview. And as part of the market interview, which we are planning for the Salesforce category, so we have 5 questions, and the duration will be 45, and the mode will be online. So you will be having some enough time to complete this interview. So that's all I have. And parallelly, we also provide you some reference link. So thank you so much for attending the session, and I hope something you have learned something from this session. So happy learning and all the best. Thank you so much. So the next part will be covered by Priyadashini on the automation side.
Thank you so much, guys. It's a wonderful presentation. It was very interactive and it's powerful. Thank you. I think Priya is on. Priya, can you please take over? You're on mute.
Yeah, sure, Bhavatarni.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Priyadarshini from automation team. So I have been working in MST for past 4 years. So I have been working in various projects and get a good idea in Selenium Protractor and BDD Cucumber. So based on that, I plan to give us some ideas for preparing an interview. So before we move on to the automation testing interview guidance, as a fresher, you having so many questions in your mind, like what are the things we need to cover before you want to appear in an interview, right? So let me discuss this first. So this is the roadmap of automation testing learning. So before you go to automation testing, manual testing is a mandatory thing. So you need to know about the manual concept. Then only the automation testing will help you. The first thing you need to know about the understanding of automation testing. You must know what is automation testing, when it is been used, this kind of stuff. You should aware of that. The second thing is you need to aware of the basic oops concept with programming knowledge. So any programming knowledge is a fine, like Java, C Sharp, Python, or anything. The third thing is Selenium. And the fourth thing is test engine. These are the mandatory one before you go for an interview. If you having any knowledge on framework, it is an added advantage for you. So now we are going to see what is the automation testing. So if you are think about automation testing, you have so many questions in your mind, right? So why we are go for automation testing? What is automation testing, and when it will be work out? So we will discuss about this. So what will we do in automation testing? So for doing automation testing, you need to set a strategy. Set a strategy in the sense you need to pick the automation test cases. So you need to choose the automation test cases from manual smoke suit, like from regression or smoke, anything. And when will it be workout? So it's based on a automation demands. It may be in sprint release or daily basis or anything. It's based on a client requirement. Then next thing is who will do a automation testing. So automation tester will take care of the automation testing. How it will be work. So we need to, before we create an automation test script, we need to develop a plan where it will be execute. So basically we will execute in QA environment or UAT environment. So in some cases we will execute in a production environment. It also is based on a client requirement. Most of the people are thinking like automation testing will replace manual testing. If you guys are thinking like that, means it is wrong. So because automation testing cannot replace manual testing. Automation testing have some criteria. So let me discuss what is the criteria for that. If you go for automation testing, then it should be for regression testing or smoke testing or static and repetitive test and data driven testing. So what is regression testing? So regression testing to ensure the functionality whether it is working fine or not, due to any new functionality or its impact the older functionality. Smoke testing, so it is ensure the validation the functionalities. So static and repetitive test in the sense, whenever the business flow is a static one, it is a default one, it won't change anything. If that's the case, if we go over automation testing. The final is data driven testing. So for example, if you're taken as a login page, you can take it as a Facebook login page or Google login page, anything. So you need to validate with different user for credentials. So that the case, if you're doing with manual means it's take too longer time. So then automation testing is a good idea. So if you're going with automation testing for these four things, it is a good idea. So if you're going with if you're planning to automate everything from manual to shoot means it's a bad thing, it won't work out for you. So, what is the prerequisite of automation thing? Automation testing. As we discussed, without manual testing, we cannot do automation, right? So, the prerequisite is smoke shoot and automation regression suit. Based on the smoke and regression suit only, we will identify the suitable automation test candidate. We having different types of frameworks in automation. Let me discuss what are the things. The first thing is linear driven development. The next one is modular driven development. The third is data driven development and keyword driven and hybrid driven, and the final is behavior driven. So the initial first two the framework is not been a trend, so it is a out of trend. Data driven, keyword, hybrid, and behavior is in trend. So mostly in companies there has been followed whether data driven or behavior driven. In everything we following a process, right? In manual testing we are following like STLC, like software testing life cycle, and we having a software development life cycle. So why we are going for process for doing in a right way, right? For automation also we are following some process. So let me see what are the things. Before you entering into a automation process, first you need to develop your framework. So as we discussed in previous slides, we having a different type of frameworks, right? You need to choose any one of the framework based on your project requirement. Which framework is suitable for your project. Once the framework has been developed, you need to analyze the requirement. Analyzing the requirement in the sense, based on a manual smoke or regression suit, you should identify the suitable automation test candidate. Once you are analyzing the requirement, you started to design your automation test script. Once it has been done, you start to execute our automation script and send the report to your particular BA or manager or client, whomever it needs. And the final thing is maintenance. From automation perspective, maintenance is the main part. So we need to work on a maintenance for every sprint or every week or every month whenever the functionality has been changed. In every field we are having some advantages and disadvantages, right? For automation also we are having some limitations. So let me discuss what are the limitations. So the first thing is, as we discussed earlier, we cannot automate everything from manual testing. Manual should. So automation testing is not a full testing. And then the second thing is, we cannot travel with same sprint with dev or manual QA, because like assume like if dev and QA are working in a sprint 3, we should be in sprint minus 1 or sprint minus 2, because for automation testing, for developing the framework and developing the test script, it should take a more time. Execution will be get us execution will be quicker, but the development stage will be get slow. Due to that, our report also feedback and report also get little bit slower. And then maintenance also, we need to work on so many times due to a function in our agile process. We are every sprint we having the functionality changes, right? So that time, based on a functionality changes, we need to rework on our automation script. And the next thing is code adjustment in the sense, in from the automation perspective, the attributes is the main thing. So whenever the deployment has been happen, the attributes will be changed. So that time we need to rework on our attributes. And the final thing is, from automation perspective, UI and image testing is not possible. So as Gayatri discussed in previous, she showed how to test manually the web to lead, right? The same thing we will discuss how to it happen in automation testing. Are you able to see my eclipse?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. So I have written a simple code for that. Just entering the form like first name, last name, email, city, and state, and submitting the form. So here I'm getting the starting time and ending time, like the execution starting time and execution ending time. So identifying the how much time it has been taken. I start execute this one. The browser has been opened, then entering the values and submitting the buttons. Once it has been submitted, as per the development, it has been redirected to MST solutions. Once the page has been reloaded, the driver should be closed. So the starting time is, you can see here, 17:156, and ending time is 17:13. So it should be take lesser than 20 seconds. So if you go with manually, if it is taken for doing a form submission, it should be taken, assume like it should be taken a 40 seconds. For automation, it should be take 20 seconds. So the time saving should be at 20 seconds. So from automation is from the automation perspective, ROI is the most important thing. So due to that, we can reduce 20 seconds. This is the best automation ROI. So that's it from my end. And this is the mock interview pattern. So the mode will be a online, and category will be a automation testing related questions. And it should be a 25 questions, and the duration will be a 45 minutes. And language should be in English. Here I have given us some reference URL. Whenever you plan to go for an interview, you can refer it. It will help you for clear an interview. And these are the sample questions for a programming knowledge. So whenever you go for an interview, you can refer that also. If anyone have any questions, please let me know. That's it from my end.
Yeah, thank you so much, Priya. It was really good, and I also got surprised to see it because it takes only a fraction of seconds to fill the forms, and it will be really helpful for the project, especially when we have a huge number of forms with huge pages. It was really very useful and very interesting. So let me share my screen. That final thing I just want to notice everyone that we will be sharing this mock interview URL in the chat. You can attend the mock interview from today, and the deadline is November 2. So please complete the mock interview before November 2, and we will validate all your answers separately, and we will discuss the solution in our upcoming meetup. So the solution may not be absolutely from the Google, because we will deliver how an interviewer will expect the answer from you, and how you can answer more effectively if you want to crack the QA interview. So everyone can attend the upcoming meetups. Please don't forget to attend the mock interview, which is posted in our chat. I think everyone can access it. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. And it's the time to announce the winners. So I picked two winners. One is Shivanand and another one is Sudarshan. So they were both participated really very well for Let's Plan contest, as we have rolled out, and they actively take part and participated in this contest, and really appreciate both the winners. And this time I plan to provide these swags which is requested by the winners. I'm not going to provide any kind of swags from my mind, and they can request any kind of swag from me, and I will just provide them. And please stay tuned for upcoming meetups, and you can also participate in the contest and win prizes. So prize distribution is just to motivate all the audience to learn the Salesforce. That's our only motivation. That's the only motive. And I think
And
everyone will. Mhm.
yeah, so are you going to share the Excel sheet, the PPT in the email?
Yeah, sure. You fill the feedback form, right? So through the mail,
Yep,
we will send the PPTs and reference links, everything.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Everyone may think that developer is only enough to run a project successfully, but I think this meme is the best example. So definitely we need a QAs in order to get our projects more successfully. Thanks everyone for joining, and it was really a wonderful meetup because it went really in an interactive way. And post your questions. I will send my mail in the chat box. You can reach me at any time. I will send the mail in my chat box. And you can reach the speakers at any time. Please contact me. We will answer all your questions. Please leave your feedback and it will be really helpful. And let's see in our upcoming meetup. Do anyone wants to ask any question?
So we can attend all three mock interviews, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we can access all three and give mock interview for all three, right?
Yeah, you can attend.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any questions from anyone? And I encourage manual testers to learn automation, and you can also attend the automation testing mock interviews. It will be really helpful for your career to build it and to upgrade it. Thank you so much, everyone. Let's wrap up, I think. Thank you so much. Let's see you in upcoming meetup.